10 years later, the best basketball rivalry in the state is back. Welcome into sports. I'm Sydney Berger. Before the decade-long hiatus, Gonzaga versus Washington State was one of the most played rivalries in all of college basketball. And tomorrow, the series continues, and we won't have to wait another 10 years to see it again. The 18th ranked Zags are welcoming the Cougs into the kennel for a conference matchup. It's the first of 2 games this season, which isn't normally the case, but will be the new normal with both universities in the same conference. Tomorrow night, the Zags are favorites to win on their home court, and their biggest contrast to this WSU team right now is their depth. While the Zags have a number of star players, WSU is plagued with injury as 2 of their starters from earlier in the season are out. But the Cougars are still a 13-4 team despite being shorthanded, and Gonzaga head coach Mark Few recognizes Coach David Riley's success with the Cougs so far.
They're kind of fearless. They're very, very physical. They're smart. They play like a really old team, and they look like they've played together a long time. So, yeah, he's done a wonderful job.
Gonzaga is ranked 7th in the country in scoring offense, just averaging under 88 points a game. WSU has a similar identity, with Riley saying he's more of an offensive-minded coach. They've also been consistent shooters throughout the season, of course, disregarding a pretty bad loss to Pacific last night. Riley says the loss wasn't a lapse in technique, but more on the effort side.
I think that the game humbles you, and we weren't mentally tough enough because I thought our egos were getting a little bit big, and maybe that's from winning, maybe that's from me not having good enough practices that put them in reality. There's a lot of different things that could go into that, but when we're pointing fingers and we're blaming others, I think that shows a little bit of mental weakness, and hopefully this game can make us tougher.
Well, the Cougs are coming off their first loss at home and a loss to one of the worst teams in the WCC. So Riley is looking for a quick fix to the toughness before facing the big dogs. But a little bit more about the history of this rivalry that is coming back to life. Last time the Zags won was that last meeting in 2015. Last time the Cougs won was at 2010 at home. And the last time they won in Spokane was 2007, when both teams were ranked. Finally, in 150 games played, Gonzaga has won 98 of those meetings. So if they want to win 99, we're thinking about the big losses of the Zags season, like Kentucky, UConn, UCLA. Biggest theme there was keeping the pressure and momentum throughout all 40 minutes. The Zags gave up those pretty winnable games in the final seconds of those ranked matchups, so the ability to close out a game is something to look for tomorrow night. For WSU, David Riley said last night his team had way too many turnovers and looked like they were cutting corners, letting their opponent's star players get wide open. So the Cougar defense has to be back on point.